Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the Ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
And just like in the movie, The Christmas Carol, Tiny Tim said, "God bless you, everyone." Merry Christmas, everybody. Zeb at the Ranch, and right now here comes Kate Smith and God Bless America, followed by a Patriot to call in with our Pledge of Allegiance. Come on, dial the number. We'll talk to you in a minute. Oh, good morning. Good morning to you on this December 19th. We are just a few days away from Christmas. Thank you very much. Welcome to Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, along with some of our great advertisers like Western Way Services, always at your disposal. Call them at 734-6969. Right now, without further ado, let's go to the phone line and get our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Well, good morning, sir.
Well, hello there, Sunshine Superman. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Great.
All right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Santa's favorite elf. Good job. I appreciate it, Wheels. Thank you. And right now it's time to go to the weather, and the weather is brought to you by Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for that blue door. I'll tell you what, they have everything all decored, if you will, with Christmas and carpet and flooring, kitchen construction, all that you need, whatever you need to make your house a home. Wonderful, wonderful people. And boy, give yourself a present. Maybe line up a kitchen remodel right after the first of the year. Talk to them at Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley, 678-6945. Here is the weather.
Oh, man, it is super cold outside. I am Scotty Cameron sitting in for Gina Jameson for your Zeb at the Ranch weather forecast. For today, going to see some increasing clouds. Highs are going to be around 23. Yeah, only 23. Mostly cloudy tonight. Still going to be around 23 for tomorrow. Looks like we're going to have a wintry mix, maybe a little rain, a little snow. Who knows? Highs are going to be around 38. Chance of rain and partly cloudy for tomorrow night. Lows around 19. Sunny on Wednesday. Highs are going to only reach around 31. Then as we move into the weekend, going to have a little bit of a chance of the white stuff. Maybe a white Christmas. Who knows? There you go. That's your Zeb at the Ranch weather forecast. I'm Scotty Cameron.
Thank you, Scotty. Great job. And thank you to Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for that blue door, and they wish you a very Merry Christmas. I heard so many anti-Christmas messages over the weekend that I sat back and I thought, what in the world is the world coming to? And we're going to be talking about some of that in just a few minutes, so stay tuned. Right now, I also want to remind you that don't forget we're going to be over at Denny's Restaurant this Wednesday for that Christmas party. That's right. Because of the weather last week, had to change. We're going to have it this Wednesday over at Denny's Restaurant, 611 Overland in Burley. Come snow or low temperatures, we're going to be there, I'll guarantee you, and it's going to be a lot of fun. At 611 Overland in Burley, Santa Claus is going to be there. We're going to have all kinds of good things, so please stop by and be a part of it. We're going to have door prizes, all kinds of good things at Denny's Restaurant this Wednesday for our Christmas party at 611 Overland in Burley, and enjoy the great, great food. It is phenomenal. Check out all the different pancake orders. Oh my goodness, the list goes on. They are delicious. By the way, too, I want to say thank you to Daryl's Cleaners at 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. They take care of all my jeans, all my shirts, everything, and they do a phenomenal job. Now, every time you bring something in to be clean, get a ticket and write your name on it, and you might win a huge stuffed teddy bear. It's standing there by the door. I mean, holy smokes, it gave a lot of people a second pause to look. It's beautiful. And by golly, I'll tell you what, stop in and put your name in there. You might win that. And don't forget to get a gift card to somebody for any amount you want to have dry cleaning services at Daryl's Cleaners. Wonderful idea. 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. Be sure and get a hold of them today. Oh, and by the way, too, don't forget our friends at SafeLink Internet. You know, every morning we talk about them. And fast, reliable, local, I'm telling you, with over 10,000 customers serving you. SafeLink Internet, 677-8000. Be sure and give them a call. Get on the program today. Wonderful people serving you. SafeLink Internet, 677-8000. All right, your turn. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Today, actually, let's see what the time is right now. It might be started back east for sure, that the electors from the East Coast all the way out to the West Coast are going to be finalizing the vote for the Electoral College. I am very concerned. I've got to be honest with you, over the last couple of days, when I've heard all the rhetoric and the general balderdash from the left, and the money being put up by George Soros, and even down to Michael Moore, that fat filmmaker, Michael Moore, and I don't know how this can't constitute as a bribe and be arrested. He's offering money to, what I heard this morning on the news, allegedly offering money to some of the Electoral College members to change their vote. Folks, I'm telling you, we have some major problems in this country right now that need to be addressed with the absolutely mentally unbalanced left Democrats. What they're looking for is hopefully a change of 37 votes, and it should worry all of us, because the left is trying to change the rules. The left is trying to change what happened in the election. The left is trying to buy and take over our electoral process in this country. And when you think of what the leaked emails, I want to get over on this a little bit ago. Doug Martin and I were talking about this on the phone the other day. When you think about the leaked emails showing some highly devastating news that the American public absorbed regarding Hillary's campaign putting out to pasture the campaign of the socialist Bernie Sanders, and other damning interviews and intercessions with other people in the Democratic Party, it just proved how illicit and illegal they are. The American public didn't learn anything but how cheating and lying and absolutely controlling the left wants to be. Caller, I'm going to ask your indulgence. Stay with me a minute. I got to get this in real quick. Don't forget Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, open 7:30 to 5 Monday through Friday. And the furnace filters. I know a lot of us this weekend, whoa, baby, it was gold in the house when you get out of bed in the morning. Yes, sirree, Bobby, they've got all your furnace filters, all your heating, all your electrical needs. They are the best. Wishing you a Merry Christmas. Ramsey Heating and Electric, 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, where they provide warm winters and cool summers. Caller, I'm coming, I promise. I'll be right there. Also want to remind everybody, Santa Claus wishes from Pro Paint at 1116 Overland Avenue in Burley with Barbara and the whole crew. Best stains, best paint, featuring the PPG paints and the best advice on how to get the job done right. Pro Paint in Burley, wishing you a very Merry Christmas. Along with our dear friends at Snake River Auto Body and Paint, 404 4th Avenue West in Twin Falls. Oh, my goodness, drive safe this winter. And if you get a little wrinkle in your vehicle, don't forget they can fix it up. Excellent work. Anything happens, remember them. Snake River Auto Body and Paint, 404 4th Avenue West in Twin Falls, 734-5790. Wishing you a very Merry Christmas. Caller, you're patient. Thank you. You're on the air.
Okay, good morning, Zeb.
How, buddy?
You know, Zeb, the Democratic Party is acting like an arm of the Communist Party, like a dictatorship. If things don't go their way, they just become rabid.
Yep.
They can't stand to lose. One other problem I see coming with the blimp, Michael Moore and George Soros, they plan all kinds of disturbances on Inauguration Day.
Yes.
Now, what's going to happen if we have another Boston Marathon massacre when Trump gets inaugurated?
You know, Tony,
Michael Moore or George Soros going to be suspect and picked up and put in jail?
You know, Tony, I was adamantly against Barack Obama from the get-go, way back to 2007, when he threw his hat in the ring. I absolutely did not want the man to run for president. I didn't like anything about his politics. I don't and still don't like anything about him or his family or his ideology. But did I ever threaten on the air that we were going to cause chaos and have a mob rule or anything? No, absolutely not. We took our lumps with Barack Obama for 8 years, and we absolutely won this election. Now, the point I want to get at is I agree with you. The George Soroses and the absolutely tainted, stupid people like Michael Moore and others that are trying to beg, borrow, steal, or bribe this election to be changed is absolutely ridiculous.
You know, how many more terrorist attacks are we going to have in this country during Inauguration Day to get their message out? You know, this is a big concern for me.
Well, it should be for every American, Tony, and you bring up really good points. I don't know how good. I'm sure it's probably first class protection and security Donald Trump has, but I absolutely encourage him and his family to look at each and every avenue of how to protect themselves. I don't trust anybody in this world anymore. I think that the liberal left has absolutely gone insane because they have not got their way.
Well, let's hope we don't have breakouts of violence in every state in this country on Inauguration Day. And if it does happen, somebody at the top has got to pay for this.
That's right. And I'm with you. I'm praying for safety and sanity, but boy, when you talk about George Soros and these loop-de-loop Democrats and liberals that can't buy into the fact that they got their butts kicked politically, and they're trying to bribe and threaten these electoral college members, threaten their lives and send them emails and follow them down the street saying nasty thing. What's going on here, Tony? I've never heard of such lunacy before.
Well, this country's turning into something like the Soviet Union had.
Yeah. Well, to you and Mary, a very...
We hope the man up above is looking out for us.
I certainly hope so. God bless you and Merry Christmas, my dear friend. Thank you for your call.
To you and Deanne.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Bye.
No, I'm like Tony. I absolutely fear for what's going on in this country with these absolute lunatic left fringes. There's groups out there that have started, like, what's the name of that one group that I was just trying to read up on this morning? Americans Take Action is one of the groups that is backing these ads that were put together by some of the Hollywood so-called stars. And believe me, Martin Sheen and some of the other ones, I have no use for these people. And, of course, George Soros is the big money man, they have said, along with Michael Moore and others. And they're coming out with statements like, Trump is a clear and present danger to our country and the world. The men and women who died for our freedoms deserve better than this. Well, stop the bus, Gus. Who did the large percentage of the military vote for in this election? Donald Trump. The left is just using every string they can to treat us like puppets. And I certainly hope, and I'm praying, that this afternoon, at least one portion of this problem with these nitwits on the left will be put to bed, hopefully forever. I hope the Electoral College vote goes the way it should go, and threats and all these other thuggery events will not take place. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I'm going to talk to you about a school in Pennsylvania in just a moment. Stand by. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Right after the Christmas and New Year's season, I'm going to be going back down there and start exercising again my hip. I took a fall this weekend that was the mother of all falls. With the ice and the snow, no, it happened right in my house. Anyway, they can help you get back to being you. 678-1191. 678-1191. I'm laughing because now I think about how it happened, and it was kind of funny, really. But anyway, Nick Greenwell, physical therapist, and all the physical therapists, they can help you, and they will. With the exercises, the hydrotherapy pool, the only one of its kind in the area, call and make an appointment. 678-1191. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. I got to tell you what I did. I don't know how I managed to do it, but my one crutch got caught and did a hula hand around the bottom, the phone line. Our phone line going to our phone and our fax machine. And I got it caught in the cord somehow, and I'm walking away from it, and all of a sudden, you've seen in the movies where somebody gets jerked right back head over heels. Well, this time it wasn't head over heels, it was blank over face, and my face ran into, I can't imagine why I didn't try to stop it, the kitchen cabinets. And the kitchen cabinets and I had a real close-up, hi, how are you today? And in about 2 days, when most people see me, they're going to notice that my eyes are black and my nose is all black. And I'm going to be a dandy, good-looking guy over at Denny's on Wednesday morning. I can guarantee you that. Hey, Barry Equipment and Rental. And they've got 3 locations, South Lincoln and Jerome, Addison Avenue West and Twin, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. Oh, they've got all the equipment to get the job done right. That's right. And don't forget, too, they're selling a lot of the rental Bobcat equipment, used rental Bobcat equipment. Listen to this, 0% interest on 48 months. Ooh, baby, that is a gathering of minds that you can't pass up. You better check it out. Equipment rentals, retail equipment sales, Barry Equipment and Rental. 3 locations, Jerome, Twin Falls, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. Really good, folks. Your turn. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. You know, later on this morning at about 10:06, I'm going to put out a story that I read from the Wall Street Journal. And this gentleman does not paint a very pretty picture about Christmas from now into the future, about how Christmas is on the wane. And here's an example of what Christmas is, what's happening to Christmas around our United States. And I want to get your opinion on this. A Pennsylvania school canceled the 5th grade version of Scrooge and the Christmas Carol. Why? Because two people out of the hundreds of parents that had children in this play, 2 people out of the hundreds of parents of children going to the school in the 5th grade objected to the Tiny Tim line in the play that says, and I mentioned it when I opened the program this morning, God bless you, everyone. 2 people objected to that, God bless you, everyone. And the cowards at the school, the principal, superintendent, school board, etc., they went into panic mode and put their tail between their legs and canceled the play. They canceled the entire play. And a statement came out by the principal that said they wanted the school to be inclusive for everyone and not hurt anyone's feelings. Boo-hoo, wah-wah. Let me ask you something here, folks, honestly, and respond to this. Tell me, name an event or anything going on that might not offend someone. From a 4-H rabbit show to a NASCAR race, a rodeo to a motocross race, someone might and could be offended. I don't like that. No, I don't like the advertisers. No, I don't like what you did. Are we going to stop everything? So do we stop and curtail everything that might offend someone? And please, don't give me the old nonsense. In this particular case about Tiny Tim, God bless you, everyone line. Oh, well, we have to have a complete separation of church and state. No, we do not. And so many stories that we've had on this program from the Alliance Defending Freedom and many, many others about how the secular left absolutely is wrong, deadpan wrong, on their demands for taking away the nativity scene, taking away anything to do with Christmas, taking away the line, God bless you, everyone, whatever. And I, for one, you know me well enough, if I stay on this program for an extended period of time, I'm not going to change. Oh, there's been demands, but I don't listen to those demands. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning.
Hi, Linda.
Well, for one thing, Tiny Tim did not say God bless you, everyone. He said God bless us, everyone.
Yeah.
And they not only succeeded in not offending the 2 people that didn't like it because they wanted to be inclusive and not offend anyone, they just offended the hundreds of parents and children who loved the play and wanted to have it.
Yeah.
Are they dumb or are they dumb? They're just cowards.
Well, wait a minute. Right there, it's interesting you use that word cowards because that's the same word I use. I'm not saying a certain number. I'm not mentioning a certain school district, but I will say this, and I want to hear your remark. Many school administrators are timid and weak and cave in at the slightest suggestion that somebody might be upset. Isn't that the truth?
Yeah, and when they do that, it just gives those other guys a little more encouragement to keep on yelling and doing what they're doing.
Absolutely.
You're right. Everybody's going to be offended over something.
Linda, if I worried, honestly, and I said this the other day on the air, I hope you heard it, because I meant it when I said it. If I was worried about offending someone or anyone, I wouldn't even turn on the transmitter in the morning because this is an opinion program, and I'm certainly not going to pack water to somebody else's horse and just keep my mouth shut.
Really? May I tell you something that happened that I think I'm just thrilled with it. We had here in Burley an event where 4 churches offered a mini little worship service to share their way they celebrate Christmas. And we had the United Methodist Church, and then for half an hour, and then at the same time, the Christian Center and one of the LDS churches, and then at the last, Little Flower Catholic Church, and they offered refreshments, and we're right in the middle of our Posadas, which is a Spanish. It's kind of like a play they hold for 9 nights where people go.
Right.
Mary and Joseph are asking for admission to the inn, and they are rejected until someone each night trusts them and says, yeah, they're who they are, and we are going to let them in. And it's a way of asking us to open our hearts to Jesus and Mary and Joseph at Christmas. And so we did that. We sang some Christmas songs.
Real fast, Linda. I got to.
And then we took the refreshments and we offered them tamales.
Okay.
Would you believe? That was well attended, the 3 churches I was at. And at Little Flower Church, we're not a huge church. We're not as big as the others. Man, I'm telling you, we filled that church, and we had them in the entryway, and we really filled it.
Well, God bless you.
Very tall. But, Zeb, it was very lovely. It was well attended, and I was absolutely thrilled. But on a very cold night, those folks showed up.
Amen. I hate to be rude to you because I've got to get a break in here, but I want to just say this. You, your church, your congregation, everybody, don't weaken on this because Christmas is so valuable to each and every one of us. Thank you, Linda. God bless you. Thank you.
God bless you, too.
Thank you so much. Beautiful lady right there. Wonderful voice. Just absolutely phenomenal. Got to get this break in. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids with Dr. Christine Pickup. Call for an appointment for a hearing screening. You'll be so glad you did. And believe me, she can help correct the hearing problems. She knows all about sound. I mean, this woman is amazing. And they're right across from the Minidoka Hospital Emergency Room. Number to call for hearing screening to hear what you're missing, 312-0957. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Call today. And by the way, they wish you and yours a very Merry Christmas. Right now, I'm going to give away a dozen cookies to Sophie's Chatterbox right there on the square in Rupert. Oh, my goodness. Don't forget, this Wednesday, the 21st, is the last day to take orders for Christmas cookies and all the bacon at Sophie's Chatterbox to get it done in time for Christmas. So call them at 436-0354, 436-0354. Sophie's Chatterbox in Rupert, right on the square. Absolutely phenomenal bakery and restaurant. Here's the question for today. First-time winners only, please. This is an easy one. Easy one. In the Bible, what town were Mary and Joseph from? In the Bible, in St. Luke, what town were Joseph and Mary from? Give me a call quickly at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Quickly, give me a call. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Bethlehem.
No, they were not. Thank you, sir. Appreciate your call. What town were Joseph and Mary from? Call me at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call, please, quickly. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Good morning.
Is that me?
It is. I better be, or I'm talking to the wrong person. Go ahead, sir.
Excuse me, Nazareth.
There you go. What's your name, sir?
Larry Cabe.
Larry Cabe. Is that C-A-B-E?
C-A-B-E.
Well, Larry, I want to congratulate you. You call Sophie's and you tell them that you're the cookie winner and you get a dozen delicious cookies. Yes, it was Nazareth. Thank you so much for your call this morning and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you.
God bless you, man. Thank you. Nice guy right there. All right, calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. And I'm sure many of you have heard the references in the Bible. Jesus of Nazareth. Mary and Joseph from Nazareth. Hey, by the way, Sportsman's Warehouse at 1940 Bridgeview Boulevard in Twin Falls. Listen to this. Lowest prices of the season, 10% off firearms and ammunition. Get in there today. And 20% off on all the Thermos products, insulated bottles and mugs. Where? At a store that I just love to go into, and that's Sportsman's Warehouse with old Reese Woodmeyer, good guy, manager at 1940 Bridgeview Boulevard in Twin Falls. Excellent place to do your Christmas shopping. And by the way, too, real quick, I know I'm kind of hurrying along here. I want to take some more of your calls. I want to find out what your thoughts are about canceling the Christmas Carol over one line with Tiny Tim. One line. And hundreds of families had to suffer. Don't forget Streamline Precision, and that's with our buddy Tim Vaughn and the crew at 431-7314. All your steel buildings, pre-engineered steel buildings from Nucor, Prime, and Sukup. Oh, my goodness. Now is the time to call, get a bid, get them to work on your farm, dairy, ranch business, and get it constructed before springtime. This is a perfect time. They really enjoy getting calls and going to work through the wintertime. They need you at 431-7314. Tim Vaughn and Streamline Precision, absolutely the best. Wishing you and yours a very Merry Christmas. Okay. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. What about this catering and demanding by a certain few? Now, I never have had any response, and I'm going to say this from the Rupert City Council or whatever regarding what's going on with the theft of baby Jesus from that nativity scene. And I haven't heard as to whether or not they have basically obtained another figure of Jesus for that nativity scene. But it seems like one or a small group of people want to destroy the real meaning of Christmas in that town. And I certainly hope they are basically put out to pasture with their weird, warped sense of values. And then when you hear of stories about what's happening in Pennsylvania and around the country with, so-and-so said Merry Christmas, a janitor going down the hall, cleaning after school, fired because he was whistling Silent Night, reprimanded and let go. I mean, this is lunacy. And for the one line, God bless us everyone, Tiny Tim, cowards. And again, I want to reiterate, I am not, and don't say I am, calling all school administrators and school boards, etc., cowards. No, I'm not. Many have the backbone and the knowledge as to what they can and can't do legally, and they can stand tall. But most of them are cowards, timid, weak, and cave in. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Want to draw attention to Minnecasia Sales for a moment. Tomorrow morning, of course, Dr. History at 10:06, and Minnecasia Sales is the sponsor of Dr. History at 1321 East Main Street in Burley, right across from the airport. Number to call and find out more, 878-2091. Don't forget they've got all your lumber packages. Don't forget they've got those great Western windows. I'll bet you wished you'd have put those in a couple of weeks ago to keep that cold air and draft outside, not coming in. Well, still time. Get a hold of them today. They can help send over a contractor to do the installation. Minnecasia Sales, 1321 East Main Street in Burley, proudly presenting Dr. History at 10:06 on Tuesdays. Come on, everybody, give me a call. Whether you want to wish somebody a Merry Christmas or whatever, I'm certainly open and amenable to that. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I want to tell you about the Obamas in just a minute. And Barack's highly inflated opinion of himself. Don't forget Bedke Treasure Barn, located at 1558 Normal Avenue on the corner of 16th and Normal in Burley. And boy, you talk about a large and unique, yeah, it's unique, all right, inventory. I mean, they've got everything over there, from furniture all the way to salon and barber chairs. Yeah, spin one of those dudes around in the living room. That's neat. And they've got all the tools, and they've got all the collectible toys. A lot of people are really into those collectible toys. Well, they've got a bunch. And the store, of course, open Tuesday through Saturdays, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Bedke Treasure Barn for your Christmas shopping at 1558 Normal Avenue on the corner of 16th and Normal in Burley. Really, really nice people. It seems like Barack Obama spent a lot of the weekend bragging and telling everybody how good he was. Yeah. Anybody that would stick a microphone in his face or a TV camera, he basically came out with a lot of different interviews bragging on how great we, the United States, is now after his 8 years as president. Now, chew on that for just a moment, would you please? The last 8 years of Barack Obama, and I'll put this out there, and you're welcome to say you're wrong, but somebody call me right now and tell me, in the last 8 years, really, what great benefit did Barack Hussein Obama do for the betterment of the country and the betterment of us personally? What did he do? He came out, caller, just a minute, I'll be right there. He came out and said that we are now, as a country, because of his presidency, more respected and stronger. Really? And that we are also more prosperous. Caller, good morning, you're on the air.
Silent night, holy night. Good morning, Zeb, and Merry Christmas.
Well, same to you. Thank you for that. Go ahead.
My comment was that town back east where that one guy threw a fit with the cross on the Christmas tree.
Yes.
Went and got back at him by passing out crosses to everybody, and I don't wear a cross as a necklace, but if you handed me a cross, I would not be offended.
Absolutely. Now, I do wear a cross along with my wedding ring on a necklace. My fingers have been broken so many times that I finally had to have my wedding ring cut off. And I thought, man, I treasure that wedding ring in my marriage to Deanne. And so I put that and a cross on a necklace, and that's how I wear it. But
you know, it wouldn't offend me if you handed me a little wooden cross. And in fact, in order to protest this guy, I'd put a cross in my yard and one on my Christmas tree, and you know.
You're just like I am.
Down the front lawn.
You're just like I am. I mean, I would make him so uncomfortable. He might want to check real estate in another state.
Exactly. I mean, and why are we? I can understand you've got a person with a handicap, in a wheelchair, whatever, that needs a ramp to get into a business, and they're the only one in town. But to be a mamby-pamby baby, and I get my way because, you know, I'm going to have hysterical fits if there's a cross on the Christmas tree or you say Merry Christmas to me. That's a bunch of baloney.
Amen. And thank you for what you said this morning. You're always welcome. And Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas to you, too.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Caller number 2, I'll be there in just a minute. Don't forget Pomerelle Mountain Resort. Oh, my. They are open for skiing and great snow conditions, snowboarding, lessons, and don't forget the most important thing I can tell you today. They can give and sell you gift certificates to your friends, family, etc. to go skiing. Here's what you got to do. You call up there and get more information. You've got to pick up your gift certificate up up at the resort. You probably will be up there skiing anyway, and then you can head home and stick that into a stocking, that's hard to say, for Christmas. And people are going to say, oh, wow, I get to go skiing on your dime. That's right. This is a great gift idea. So get a hold of Pomerelle Mountain Resort. Great skiing. Really nice people at 673-5599. And be sure and get up there and get those gift certificates and go slushing down the slopes at Pomerelle. Excellent, folks. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
You know, Mount Harrison in the summertime, I'm not a skier, but the wildflowers up there in July are just incredible. And a lot of people have never been up there. The road is fantastic. I don't think there's a pothole on the road all the way up there. Clear to the top, but it's just beautiful part of the Magic Valley that a lot of people haven't really maybe taken advantage of, but it's absolutely gorgeous.
I agree.
And you can get away from the heat in the middle of the summer as well.
Yep.
Up there, it's usually about 15 degrees cooler on the top than it is in the valley. But the reason I called Zeb, it's when you're talking about what's happened in the last 8 years, and actually it's been longer than that because, the bureaucracy and so forth that was established under Nixon, the EPA, and all of these regulatory agencies and so forth. But you and I have talked about the fact that all of this is trying to make us a third world country.
Yep.
So that we can merge with these other third world countries into this grandiose, elitist plan of a United Nations where they control everything. And this is where the climate change, the global warming hoax comes out of the UN and so forth. But this is Obama, what he was doing is just implementing on steroids what's been going on for a long, long time, because we saw no pushback really in all of this under the Bush administration. Not certainly it wasn't as out in the open, but they kept funding all of these programs. As long as you give the EPA and these other agencies the money, they're going to just keep eating the substance out of our economy and out of our individual lives.
I agree with you. And coming up next half hour at 9:06, and I've got to get a weather forecast in here, Adrian, but I want you to be listening. I've got Donald Vandervaart from the North Carolina Department of Environmental Quality really blasting the EPA, so be listening. I hate to cut you off, but I'm running late this morning, and I've got to get that weather in. So God bless you, and Merry Christmas.
Well, just remember that, put up those crosses, and we have that individual right to do that. And anybody says that you've had Alliance Defending Freedom on there, indicating that we have those rights to do that. So
absolutely.
Have a Merry Christmas, and everybody, we need to take back our Christian heritage and forget anybody that doesn't like this country, that is a Christian nation. Move out and go to the country where you feel more open.
Absolutely. All right, sir. Thank you very much. Merry Christmas. Thank you. Got to run to the weather. As you can tell, I'm running a few minutes late here this morning, and the weather brought to you this hour by the Urgent Cares. And that's Mr. Kyle James and his wonderful professional staff at Riverview Urgent Care, 382 North Overland and Burley, Twin Falls Urgent Care, 2392 Addison Avenue East in Twin, and Jerome Urgent Care, 133 West Avenue Way in Jerome. Minor emergencies, major care. They can and will help you. Open 7 days a week for all your sprains, lacerations, infections, whatever. They can help you. The Urgent Cares. Right now, here's Scotty with the weather.
Oh, man, it is super cold outside. I am Scotty Cameron sitting in for Gina Jameson for your Zeb at the Ranch weather forecast. For today, going to see some increasing clouds. Highs are going to be around 23. Yeah, only 23. Mostly cloudy tonight. Still going to be around 23 for tomorrow. Looks like we're going to have a wintry mix, maybe a little rain, a little snow. Who knows? Highs are going to be around 38. Chance of rain and partly cloudy for tomorrow night. Lows around 19. Sunny on Wednesday. Highs are going to only reach around 31. Then as we move into the weekend, going to have a little bit of a chance of the white stuff, maybe a white Christmas. Who knows? There you go. That's your Zeb of the Ranch weather forecast. I'm Scotty Cameron.
All I wanted to do, Scotty, is just melt the doggone ice. I hate this ice. Anyway, the weather, great forecast. Thanks, Scotty. Brought to you by Riverview Urgent Care, 382 North Overland and Burley. Twin Falls Urgent Care, 2392 Addison Avenue East, Twin Falls. And Jerome Urgent Care at 133 West Avenue A in Jerome. Minor emergencies, major care. Hey, by the way, too, real quickly, don't forget our old buddy. Yeah, buddy, and that's Doug Martin at Doug's Alternator and Starter Repair, 635 21st Street, Alfresco Road, over in Hayburn. And I'm telling you what, he specializes in rebuilding starters, alternators, and generators, or selling new. Open 8 to 5 Monday through Friday, but the big reason he's on the air is he wants to wish you and yours a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Doug's Alternator and Starter Repair. All right, calls are welcome. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Did you hear what Michelle Obama did this weekend? What she said? Yeah, I would have a very hard time being polite to her and Barack. She came out and she's been, again, in front of the camera and with a lot of microphones over the last couple of days. And all of this to try to sway and prove negativity against Trump, hopefully to turn or have a sway in the voting of the Electoral College. And she came out over the weekend and she said, oh, all hope is gone now. With the election of Donald Trump, all hope is gone. Who are you talking about there, sweetie? Actually, and I feel very open and honest about saying this, I feel so much better knowing on my little calendar that in 31 days, you, Michelle, and your husband, Barack, will be closing the door of the Oval Office for the last time. I feel so good. I feel so enlightened. I feel a burden's been taken off my shoulders to get rid of you. I have more hope. But Michelle said, all hope is gone now with the election of Donald Trump. Yeah, that's a great way to create negativity, isn't it? Boy, I'm telling you, they're just really good folks. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Oh, by the way, too, Wednesday, day after tomorrow, we're going to be at Denny's restaurant. We had a change last week because of the weather. It didn't look good. And so we're changing it to this Wednesday. We're going to be there 8:06 to 11, Zeb at the Ranch, broadcasting live and direct, thanks to Tom, the engineer, setting up all the equipment and everything. And it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have Santa Claus there. We're going to have all kinds of goodies. Just a good old-fashioned Christmas at Denny's restaurant. And that's 611 Overland and Burley, you be there. Got time for one more call. Give me a jingle quickly. I'd love to hear from you before we leave. And before we have to go to the next hour of news, so give me a jingle on the landline. While I am waiting for your call that I'm sure is speeding in here right now, I'd like to remind you also about our friends at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations. Now, here's the deal. I did talk to some people last week that said, doggone it, with all that snow and ice, I wish I'd have listened to you and gone into the Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and got my traction tires on. I heard that from about 3 or 4 different people. And, they do have all the snow and the ice tires, and they've got all the tire chains, and they've got the best in brake service, absolutely the best in front end alignment, shocks and struts, and also the best in batteries. A lot of folks that I talked to say, well, I had to have somebody come over with a pair of jumper cables and jump my battery. Well, listen, go have your battery checked. and they'll find out how good or how bad it is, and they've got the best in batteries at all 7 locations. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Pole Line in Twin Falls, and my buddy Randy on Overland in Burley, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. You get in there today. Let me kind of give you a little overview of what we're going to be talking about for the rest of the program this morning. At 9:06, pardon me, I'm an hour ahead. 9:06, we got Donald Vandervaart, and he is the secretary of the North Carolina Department of Environmental Quality. Does not like what's going on with the EPA, and absolutely is very, very hopeful with the appointment of Pruitt as the new administrator. So that should be really interesting. Then at 9:30, we're going to have Caleb Dalton on. And it's another story of how Big Brother government is trying to tell private business what they can and they can't do. That's going to be interesting. And then at 10:06, we're going to talk about drones. We're going to talk about grizzly bears. And we're going to talk about a story that was in the Wall Street Journal called "This is the Year That Christmas Died." We're going to have that on. And then Brandy Swindell will be on at 10:30 talking about Planned Parenthood and how she's doing all she can to see about getting it shut down. All of that and more. Right now, Santa's number one elf, the man with a smile always on his face, is ready to play a little Christmas music as we go to the news from CBS. And we want to remind you to leave the dial right here. Call in. We love hearing from you. And Merry Christmas. We'll send us up to news if you would, please. Well, good morning. Hour number 2, Zeb at the Ranch. And, of course, we're brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. And, of course, some of our great advertisers like Western Way Services. Here they are.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Way Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Way Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal. Western Way Services.
Oh, you better believe it. They've got a great idea for you to buy a gift for those hard to find the right gift people. Yeah, how about a gift certificate from Western Waste to pick up their garbage for a year, a month, whatever, for Aunt Martha, Uncle Billy, or whatever? This is a great idea. Call them today at 734-6969. Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. That number again, 734-6969. By the way, I also want to remind you, every morning we start the program at 8:06. We have our great big, very comprehensive weather forecast brought to you by Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for that blue door. Whatever you need to make your house a home at Cheney Flooring and Home Design, wishing you and yours a very Merry Christmas. We're going to have our guest with us momentarily with all the Christmas advertisements. I hope you'll stand by patiently. I'll be right there. Want to remind everybody, Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert, absolutely wishing you and your family a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Joel Heward, the manager, his family, and his staff, they are always there to serve you. And especially, this time of the year when families get together, it's always nice to know that they have the planning guides for all of us to get the information on funerals so that we all can take care of a lot of the effort and the work and create less stress for the family. Please get a hold of them today. The number to call is, of course, Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert, 436-5636. That number again, 436-5636. Wishing you a very Merry Christmas. And last but not least, let's not forget our friends at Quality's Electronics. Holy smokes, these are good folks with the very best of all. The great deal on TVs. Little bitty screens, 19-inch, all the way to the big dudes. 85-inch screen, while you can watch a buffalo herd ramble right through your living room. And I'll tell you what, it's going to be a lot of fun shopping at Quality's Electronics, 1730 Kimberly Road in Twin Falls. Extended hours 9 to 7, Monday through Friday, 9 to 6 on Saturdays. By golly, get in there. Christmas shopping at Quality's Electronics. Right now, yes.
Oh, I was just going to let you know, I tried calling Donald, but it just went straight to his voicemail, and I tried calling a couple times.
Oh, well,
already.
Keep trying. Please.
Yes,
Please, we need that man on the phone. Give us a jingle, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Well, there you go. Interesting live radio. We had our guest all lined up, and I don't know what happened to him, but Donald Vandervoort will be hopefully on the air. Deanne, can you do a little check-in on this right away? That man did not show up, and somebody tried to call just a moment ago, and I don't know who it was, and I couldn't take that line on the air, but my lovely bride will check it out along with Wheels at the main studio, and we'll try to get a hold of that gentleman. While we have a moment, and we look forward to talking to you or anybody right now, so give me a call. At Ark Animal Hospital, they always have warm hearts for cold noses. Oh my goodness, they're located at 750 21st Street in Heyburn. And it's a mixed animal practice. It means that big or small, they love them all, and they can care for them all to keep them healthy. Absolutely. Dr. Bill, Dr. Liz, the whole crew serving you at Ark Animal Hospital, 750 21st Street in Heyburn. Number to put by the phone, remember it, 678-1177. Warm hearts for cold noses. There you go. All right, so we do have a little bit of time right now, waiting to see what happened to our friend from North Carolina. So give me a jingle on the landline, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. And believe me, I'd love to talk to you or anybody else right now this morning. Have you got your Christmas shopping done, Bunky? Well, I don't. Deanna and I made a comprehensive list of all the places we have to go, all the people that we have to get something for, all the Christmas cards that had to be sent. We're a little bit late on some of those. And we tried to, the other day, take care of a little bit of the Christmas shopping, and we've got it narrowed down to I have not yet bought a present for her. I've got to go back into town and get my Christmas shopping done sometime this week. Now, I don't want to push things because I've still got a lot of time. Normally, I don't do anything until Christmas Eve, but last year I was way ahead of the game. I finished all my shopping the 2 days before. I was way ahead of the game. But I can hear my wife out on the other line right now trying to get a hold of Donald Vandervoort, and maybe we can get him on the line momentarily. While I am waiting for that call or any other call, I'd like to remind you about some great Christmas wishes. This is a good time to get all my commercials caught up. Don't forget pump service with the Baker Boys at 103 West, 500 South of Burley. The number to call, 678-9049. And the Baker brothers want to thank everybody for their business this past year, and they can help you. Residential and commercial wells, pump service, water softener sales, they've got it all, and they can serve you. The Baker Boys at Pump Service, 103 West, 500 South of Burley. Larry Chris Auto Body at 244 Overland in Burley. My goodness sakes, I'll tell you what, if you're locked out of your car, they can help. Collision repair, they can help. Car detail, they can and will help. Oh, they do a wonderful job. And by the way, that's a super place to get a gift certificate at Larry Chris Auto Body for a stocking stuffer to get a car detailed, pickup detailed for your friends, neighbors, and family. There you go. And they wish you a very Merry Christmas. Along with our friends at K&R Rental, 256 South, 600 west of Burley, locally owned and operated, and they can rent you air compressors all the way up to forklifts. I mean, they've got it all for you. Whatever your project, K&R Rental will help you out. K&R Rental wishing you a very Merry Christmas. There you go. Deanna, are we making any headway? Hopefully we're going to get him on the line here pretty quick in this segment. And, pardon me?
It's that Dustin Higgins.
Oh, Dustin Higgins?
He's supposed to do it.
Well, I did not have that word. We didn't have that word, but I'll go ahead. Is he on the air with us this morning? No, he's going to get a number. Wheels, are you right there? Talk to me, my friend. Talk to me.
Yes, sir, I am.
Do you have any other name of somebody that was supposed to be on the air? We had word that it was going to be the gentleman from North Carolina, but now we're being told that it's going to be Dustin Siggins. Do you have the number to call him?
I would have to go through my rundown.
Let me give it to you real quick. Let me give it to you, and then you dial immediately, okay?
Okay.
703-772-4698. Call at once, please.
Yes, sir.
All right, sir. Thank you. Evidently a replacement. We just got word of this. Just came across the wire, as a matter of fact. And Mr. Vandervaart from North Carolina Department of Environmental Quality will try to reschedule him for a later date. And hopefully we can get Dustin Siggins on the line in just a moment. Later on this morning, we're going to have Caleb Dalton with us with the Alliance Defending Freedom, and at 10:30, Brandy Swindell on how to possibly her attack and her wishes on closing down the Planned Parenthoods, and we're going to talk to her. Let's see if we have our man ready to go. What about it, Wheels?
Yes, sir, I'm going to be putting him through.
All right. Dustin Siggins is kind of playing a pinch hitter this morning for us, and because our other guest was out of the office, and I love live radio. Dustin, are you there, sir? Go ahead.
Hey, how's it going, boss?
Well, I'll tell you what, I was a little nervous. I didn't know until the last split second that our other guest wasn't going to be here. You are. Good morning, sir, and what are we going to talk about? I'm not even aware of the subject matter.
Oh, I think I want to talk about how amazing I am and how awesome the New Year's going to be for me in my life. But
well,
since your listeners won't care, we should probably talk about abortion or something.
Well,
So, more realistically, there's a piece going up at the stream probably next week by me talking about the wins and losses this year for the pro-life movement.
Okay.
Obviously, one of the major losses were the Supreme Court decisions this year. The one not allowing the modest Texas regulations to take effect, and the other one forcing, declining to give Washington pharmacists the chance to not provide Plan B and other potential abortifacients.
Dustin, before we get all the way into that subject matter, of which you're very well versed, why is it that it seems like the Democratic Party and the left liberals are so hell-bent on the destruction of life, whether it's in the womb or whether it's senior citizens? What is the reason here? I'm not making any heads or tails out of this.
Well, I think it's because of the answer to the question of what is the value of life is one word, it's life. But the left tends to look at things in a very, what they consider pragmatic fashion of, I think anyway, can you add value to what we consider the important aspects of life? Without religion, you can't entirely blame them for having that perspective. Secondly, it's the idea that, what I want is good because I want it, unless you're a conservative. So if you're old and or you're sick or you're in pain and you want to end your life, hey, that's your choice. Or I want to end my unborn child's life because it's inconvenient. Hey, that's your choice. But I think it's those two factors among others, but those two are the primaries.
Let me ask you. You use the terminology without religion. And every day, it seems like on my program, I'm having a guest or I'm getting some story sent to me where there is more and more of a denigration of religion, especially during the Christmas season. Those that absolutely want to abolish Christmas and the reason for the season. But you use the term without religion. How can we ever restore a moral value in this country without having religion?
Well, you can't really. I mean, it's possible using natural law and other arguments, but you really can't. Because at the end of the day, if you don't have religion, then whatever you do is the end results, right? The ends justify the means because the end is whatever is good, because there's nothing beyond this existence. We are simply fleshy beings that die, and nothing happens beyond that. The good news is that, and I think I've said this, we've discussed this before, is that, it is social conservatives who are having more kids. It's Mormons, Catholics, evangelicals, Baptists, and Muslims who are having more kids in this country. So the LGBT movement, basically, the left is going to contracept, abort itself, and, engage in a lot of, same-sex relationships that don't bear new fruit. And so you'll possibly, in the next 50, 60 years, a guy at the Weekly Standard wrote a book about some of the demographic changes in America, that atheism might be at its, at least in terms of modern America, at its peak right now, because they're going to contracept and abort themselves out of existence.
But without religion, Dustin, without religion in a society, and tell me if you think I'm wrong on this, but without religious values, family values, and appreciating life, there can be no morals. And without any morality in a society, you don't have a civilized society. You've got absolute chaos. Wouldn't you agree?
I do, and I think it's important what you're saying. I mean, the Catholic Church goes back to Humanae Vitae and the teachings pre-Vatican II, where Church doesn't allow contraception, in part because it takes away the unitive and procreative aspects of sex and makes it easy for men to use women for their own sexual pleasure, as opposed to creating, as you said, strong family unit and raising lots of kids. And so that sort of, to a degree, sets the foundation for that sort of self-centeredness, because now I don't have to restrain myself sexually. Now I can do whatever I want to, because allegedly there are no consequences. And obviously we know that's not true based now, but Humanae Vitae predicted all of this stuff 48 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Do you see in all that you read, and you're closer to this subject matter than most of us, but do you see a trend of maybe what happened the last 8 years with the Obama agency, with the acceptance of the abortion, the partial birth abortion, etc., and now with the new sheriff in town with Donald Trump, do you see a lot of the liberal left absolutely sitting on street corners, gnashing their teeth and pulling their hair out, that maybe their value system, if you want to call it that, might get thrown in the trash basket?
It's funny because they are gnashing their teeth, they are flipping out, but the fact is that, actually, I think you meant late-term abortion, not partial birth abortion. But late-term abortion is illegal in, I think, 18 states as of last week, thanks to Governor Kasich. And many of those laws have been held up in court. Many of them have not. So there's actually public support for, banning late-term abortions. There's actually public support for regulating, sort of around the edges, regulating the abortion industry, parental notifications, for example. Again, banning most late-term abortions. The challenge you run into is that young people, while younger millennials tend to be more likely to be abstinent, they're also more likely to, as is, older millennials like myself or even people above me, to use a lot of contraception. They tend to be in favor of redefining marriage and things that really are anti-life. And it's possible that Donald Trump will reverse this. I'm hesitant to put all of our faith in a politician, especially because I don't think Donald Trump cares as much about these issues on our side of the equation as Barack Obama or Hillary Clinton did for the left side, if you know what I'm saying. They can make that a priority. I don't think Donald Trump will. But if he gets a good Supreme Court justice in and he can follow through on his promise to defund Planned Parenthood, I think we'll see some major victories, because not only could we see more laws in our favor, but also, government funding incentivizes behavior. And if you reduce funding for abortion into the abortion industry and maybe shift it to the pro-life pregnancy care centers, you now have a reversal of fortunes and a reversal of funding to promote life instead of take it.
Why, in your opinion, Dustin, and I'm kind of shooting from the hip here, having not been able to study for this segment, but why, in your opinion, are most legislators, whether they be senators or congressmen, why are they so afraid to speak out about Planned Parenthood and the horrors that are happening there?
Because the public polls is liking Planned Parenthood. The public polls is not wanting to be publicly fund Planned Parenthood. Publicly fund abortions. But when you ask them about Planned Parenthood, they love it. Planned Parenthood has very effectively marketed themselves as a women's health organization, even though Americans for Life pointed out last week in a report that there have been over 1,400 violations of state and or federal laws at 227 abortion centers in the last 8 years.
Wow.
So Planned Parenthood's marketing has been extremely effective, but it helps when 40 or so % of their budget comes from federal and state taxpayers.
What about one of the things that was sent quickly during the newscast as far as alerting me that you were going to be on? What about some of the pro-life victories and losses last year? I mean, are we at a status quo, excuse me, or is the pro-life movement in this country taking a hold and more people are jumping on the bandwagon, really respecting the sanctity of life?
I think you're seeing a lot of young people look at technology very advantageously. The easy example is ultrasounds, right? We now can see this not just a clump of cells in the woman's belly. It is actually, a human child, a human being. We know that there was a study done this year. One of the pieces will be publishing in the piece is that there was a study this year showing that about 2/3 of babies born at 22 or 23 weeks gestation survive if they're given proper care. As far as I know, the earliest recorded survival of being born prematurely is at 21 weeks or 20 and a half weeks gestation.
Wow.
We have tremendous technology in our favor, plus the moral values, plus everything else. Just young people seem to be driven by what they can see, what's right in front of them. And another thing I mentioned, and I'm not a big fan of using graphic images of abortion victims in most circumstances, but there was a study done in Canada. It was funded by the group Created Equal, and they found that showing people graphic images measurably moved them toward opposing abortion. Now, that's just their personal opinion, but that often obviously translates to voting for pro-life politicians and supporting pro-life policies.
And I always tie in to the abortion problem that we have in this country, the other end of the scale with a lack of respect for our retired senior citizens. They just seem to be shuffled off into a closet or shuffled off into a upstairs wing of the house, and nobody seems to care anymore. I certainly hope that the appreciation for life, both in the womb and seniors, will change in this country, and we can start the respect that's necessary. Do you see a transition to where, especially for the seniors, I'd like you to comment on that.
I unfortunately can't say much. It's a little outside of my wheelhouse. But I actually wanted to ask you about this, since it seems like you might be more familiar with this particular angle than I am, is what do you see in terms of, the American dream was sort of, make money, own a house, own multiple cars, whatever. And I think a lot of, people say that the generation above me, the baby boomers, the Gen Xers, they tended to focus so much on that. I think they sort of gave up on taking care of parents, especially as older parents tended to live longer and have more diseases that require more careful care. Whereas 70 years ago, you lived to be 65 and you passed away. If you were 65, you lived to be less than 80, 70, 80 years ago.
Right.
Now we're living to the average of 78, and if you're 65 today, you live well into your 80s.
Right.
What do you think that the quote American dream is sort of made people a little more selfish, and do you think there's a way to change that so we keep the entrepreneurship and the capitalism and the free market, but we don't lose the compassion for elderly people?
I've been working, for your knowledge, Dustin, I've been working with the Meals on Wheels program for about the last 20 years, and with helping provide a meal to the seniors. And what's so sad for me is a lot of these seniors, they've had their spouse die, they're living alone in the house, they can't get out of the house, they can't go to the grocery store, they can't drive, and if it weren't for the Meals on Wheels program, that's the only contact they have with the outside world once a day for a hot meal that they sometimes cut up and use for their sustenance for all 3 meals during the period of the day. And our government has done nothing but cut back on the funding and has eliminated a lot of the funding necessary to keep these people alive. And I'm very embittered by this.
Yeah, I mean, I think that part of it, too, is that, again, I'm not elderly myself. You know, my grandparents are being well taken care of by my aunts and uncles who live much closer to them than I do. But it seems to me that there needs to be community, and I think we've lost that sense.
Yes.
You just talked about cutting the government cutting programs. As conservatives, we tend to oppose the government programs. I think it would be better if, you know, people were able to take that extra money from the government cutting the program and use it to help their community. You know, because as you know, which is more important? Is it more important to put a little money toward a meal for a grandparent or for an aunt or an uncle? Or is it more important to make the meal yourself and bring it over and talk to them for an hour?
Well, absolutely, but
that they're not forgotten.
I would interject, though, that our government has been involved in all kinds of programs for the youth, like midnight basketball at some of the larger areas around the country, and devoted millions of dollars to the point of funding that, whereas millions of dollars towards the Meals on Wheels program would have funded those elderly people for a long time.
Absolutely, and I don't disagree. We do tend to spend a lot of attention on young people, as we talked about abortion. But it's a little different than what the government says. We've got to help, you know, every kid, you know, should basically have X, Y, and Z. And in theory, that's true. It would be nice if every kid had a trampoline and no kids had to, you know, fight for food. But even the government studies show that most kids in America aren't starving.
Absolutely.
Most kids in America are not going without a meal every year, despite what the liberal left wants to report.
I want to tell you, I wished I had more time. I enjoy the visits with you and the go back and forth. Thank you, Dustin Siggins, with the stream. I'm out of time in this segment, but God bless you, man, for jumping in and being the pinch hitter for this morning. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a great Christmas.
All right. Merry Christmas to you too, sir. Thank you. Boy, am I glad he jumped in there and we had a conversation for a few moments about that subject. Thank you very much to Dustin Siggins. We're going to have our next guest momentarily. Holy smokes, I hope. Let's not forget Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. They're open Mondays through Fridays, 9 to 6, Saturdays, 9 to 5, except this coming Saturday, being that it's going to be, well, they may be on Christmas Eve. I'll have to check on that. But anyway, don't forget they've got all the snow machines over there at Let's Ride. Oh my goodness, all the angel dandruff on the hill ready for your fun and enjoyment, and they've got all the snow machines. And the timber sled systems, you know, that snow bike conversion kit, really neat, and all the accessories, and a fantastic service department. They're waiting to serve you absolutely where the fun is sold. Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. Let's also acknowledge our dear friends over at Cameron and Siemens Insurance. My goodness sakes, going to be going over there in the next day or so. Absolutely serving you with the best of life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits, and so much more. They are dedicated and responsive to your needs. All you need to do is call them. Make an appointment at 436-4424. Don't you dare put that on the back burner. Yep, take care of it for the protection of you, your family, and your business. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. You get a hold of those good folks today. By the way, don't forget our Denny's Christmas is going to be Wednesday. This week, Wednesday, 8:06 to 11, right there at Denny's Restaurant, 611 Overland in Burley. It's going to be fun. We're looking forward to being there. I hope you'll come over and say hello. Prizes, all kinds of goodies at Denny's Restaurant, old-fashioned Christmas this Wednesday at 611 Overland in Burley. Right now, let's go to the phone line and say good morning to Caleb Dalton with the Alliance Defending Freedom. Caleb, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Well, I got to be honest with you. I read the story that was sent to me by Brianna in the home office of the Alliance Defending Freedom on the Minnesota filmmakers that are in trouble with the government. And I got to tell you, as a private businessman and a man that also was involved in television production, and I hosted my own TV show for years, this story just really teed me off. I'll let you kind of give us the basics. Caleb Dalton, go ahead. Thank you for being here.
Absolutely. Well, Carl and Angel own a video production company. They're videographers. They're really cinematographers. They produce events, from concerts. They do Christian events and production for Desiring God Ministries and Campus Crusade, a bunch of other Christian ministries. They really exist as an organization, as their Telescope Media Group is what they call their company, to tell great stories that honor God. That's the whole purpose that they started the company and what they really live for. And they want to use their talents to tell stories about marriage. They see that marriage is decaying in our society. It's falling apart from no-fault divorce and children being raised without their father. They really want to promote marriage and tell stories about how marriage can be beautiful as God designed it. But if they do that, the government says they also have to tell stories of same-sex wedding ceremonies, and that violates their faith. They can't use their creative and artistic abilities to go in and produce these these videos and cinematography and custom designs. They do custom animation and text and everything in their videos as well. They can't use that to promote a viewpoint about marriage that they don't believe should be, and that they think is really bad policy because it promotes the idea that children don't really need a mother and a father. So basically the government threatens them. They say, if you're going to do weddings, you could be threatened with jail if you don't also video same-sex wedding ceremonies.
I am totally, I guess my jaw is hanging down on the desk. I can't believe this is happening in America. I can't believe the government is saying that if you do this, you must also do this. Even though you're a Christian, even though you have your own value system, we, the government, are going to force you and coerce you into doing something that's totally against your viewpoints. This isn't the America I was born and raised in, Caleb.
It's not. It's not the one I was born and raised in, and it's not the one I want to leave to my children. Frankly, I mean, if the government can do this, if they have the power to punish you for not speaking this message, a videographer like this, then they could say that an African-American a marketer would have to create a marketing campaign for a white supremacist group. I mean, that's absurd. Or they could say a Democrat speechwriter has to write speeches for the Republican Party because that would be, political affiliation discrimination. Or an atheist singer has to sing at a church's Easter service and proclaim that Christ rose from the dead when an atheist doesn't believe that. I mean, this is the type of thing the government can do. If they can force a videographer to use their talents to really promote this message that violates their faith, they can force anybody to say anything.
I don't understand how they can do that with them and where the line of stop is. When I use that phraseology, I mean, can they come to me, a very pro-conservative talk show host, and demand that I carry the opposing view on what you and I are talking about in the next segment? It looks to me like that could be pushed, and I'll guarantee you if that happens, that's the day I pull the plug.
Right. Well, and that's the crazy thing, is it chills people's speech. Some people, even the Larsons, they're not telling the stories about marriage that they want to right now, because if they do, they could be threatened with jail for not doing what the government tells them to. And it's not the first time you talk about, having to give equal time to an opposing viewpoint. The government's actually tried that before. There was a law passed that required newspapers to give an opposing political candidate equal time. And the Supreme Court struck that down. They said you can't force even a business to promote and speak a message using their platform that they disagree with. And the same should apply to people like the Larsons. The government can't come in there and force them to speak and promote a message that they disagree with. That's the basic foundation of freedom. If we don't have the ability to disagree about even the most important things, from politics to marriage to religion, then we don't have freedom at all. If we don't have that freedom to disagree and to publicly speak our disagreement without fear of punishment, then that freedom, that we grew up with and that we want to pass on to our children doesn't exist. And that's why the Larsons are standing up. That's why they're saying this is too far. We have to challenge this. We have to get this and preserve this freedom for everyone. It would, if they win their case, then that would also preserve the right of a gay printer that doesn't want to print promotional signs for a church conference about biblical marriage. It really protects freedom for everybody.
Well, your point is so well taken and should be listened to very carefully, but the reverse is not happening. What about if we as Christians demand that these filthy homosexual and transgender-laden sitcoms on television also at the end of their program have to have a disclaimer and another side of the story? Why aren't we pushing for that? What's good for the goose is good for the gander.
Well, that's a good question. I mean, I think, frankly, because, most conservatives, they believe in freedom. At least that's been my experience, and we don't want to push our ideology on others. Though that's the accusation that really that's pushed on everyone. But there's a core and very important distinction between what the Larsons are doing and what the government is doing. The Larsons are private actors, and they have the right under the Constitution to hold their opinions and to express their opinions. But when the government comes in and the government tells you, we're going to use the power of government to chill your speech or to compel you to speak, that's when, our freedoms are really at risk. So, most conservatives, they don't want to use the power of government to force those sitcoms to express a different viewpoint because they recognize, that this freedom is for everybody. It's for people we disagree with, but it's also, for the Larsons. They shouldn't be threatened with jail for simply disagreeing with the government.
Yeah, but you know as well as I do, and I'll hold fast to my thoughts on this, Caleb. This is nothing more than the left that is just absolutely like a cancer is growing within our government, growing within our society to eliminate Christianity and eliminate religion and faith. You know that's the basic bottom line.
I mean, it seems like there is a systematic attempt, and the Supreme Court said in the Obergefell decision where they said they created the right to same-sex marriage, they said there that even though they're redefining marriage, that the American people will remain free to express different viewpoints, to teach different viewpoints, to promote different viewpoints of marriage, that we could still continue to believe and also live out our faith on what true marriage is and why not only that our faith teaches it, but why it's a good public policy. And the Supreme Court said that was going to be the guarantee, and yet we see today, government after government entity coming after creative professionals and other Christians and saying, no, you can't promote that belief anymore. You have to conform. You have to express this other viewpoint that violates your faith, or else we're putting you out of business. And that does seem like it's a systematic use of government power from different states, different localities all over the country, trying to use the power of the government to suppress opposition speech. And that's when we don't have that freedom anymore that you talked about at the beginning.
It would be really interesting, as you were talking, I was thinking about something else. Let's assume that there have been movies made about the birth and death of Christ. But let's assume that some filmmaker wanted to highlight the aspects of the Ten Commandments in the new, moving it from the Old Testament and creating a movie about the New Testament and the value system of man and woman, marriage, sanctified with each other. You're telling me that movie might not get off ground zero because the left would say that they have to have a disclaimer or something within the movie that discredits the basic thought of that movie.
I would hope that it wouldn't, and I would obviously contend the Supreme Court and has made it clear the Constitution protects the right of a videographer, and that's the same right the Larsons are seeking right now. I think, to be clear, and I want to make sure everybody understands this correctly because I don't want anybody to be misinformed. To get into the mind of the leftists, they would say there was a difference. They would say, Well, the Larsons, Carl and Angel, they're opening their business to do, wedding ceremonies for anybody. Whereas, the video producer isn't opening his business for anybody per se. He'll show his movie to anybody, but he's still speaking his own message through it. And so they'd say there's a distinction, but there's not when you're talking about these are videographers who are producing a message for a specific purpose. And the Larsons want to get into this marriage videography business for one purpose, and that's to tell the beauty of marriage between a man and a woman.
Absolutely.
They don't need the business, frankly. They have plenty of business, but they know God's given them a talent to tell stories, and they want to tell these stories in a beautiful way about marriage. And if they don't conform to the government's viewpoint, they're threatened with jail.
Where is this case right now? I mean, what's going to happen? What looks like it's going to happen? Give us kind of a synopsis as to what your personal thoughts are.
Yeah. So they filed the case, the complaint in federal district court there in Minnesota, and it's a case that I think should be pretty easy to decide. It shouldn't take a long time for the court to look at it. It's not like there's a bunch of facts that need to be found out or to be, sought by a judge or a jury in a trial. I think it's pretty straightforward. Does the Constitution protect their right to speak freely or not to speak the message that they disagree with it? And that's really a matter of law. So I would hope that we're able to resolve this issue pretty quickly and allow the Larsons to start speaking the message about the beauty of marriage that they really want to, that they have the desire to, without fear of government coercion.
It maybe my analogy is weak when I do this, but isn't this so ridiculous that people can't express their own thoughts? They can't express their own faith-based ideas that marriage should be only between a man and a woman, and marriage and life as a family should evolve around the Ten Commandments. Wouldn't it be the same thing as like ESPN? They put together a 30-30 story on a football player, but then all of a sudden the pro soccer people say, well, you can't do that because you're putting football over soccer. I know it's a poor analogy, but basically isn't that the same kind of a thing?
Yeah, I mean, they really are. They're saying, if you tell one message, if you tell one side of it, you have to tell the other. And, that really does boil down to it. It's not a perfect analogy, like you said, but it really is the same thing. If you tell the story of marriage between a man and a woman, the government says you have to tell the story of what the government has now redefined marriage to be, and yet that's the exact opposite of what the Larsons believe to be the best policy. It's what their faith teaches them marriage is. It's what reality teaches them, that every child deserves a mother and a father. And they have the right to continue to express that message, and yet the government's coming in here and telling them, no. If you tell the one story, they're telling them they have to be hypocrites.
Yeah.
That's really what they're saying. They're saying, you can speak your message that marriage is and ought to be between a man and a woman, but if you do that, you have to speak out of the other side of your mouth and say that marriage is also between two people of the same sex. That's hypocritical. They tell them, and the government said, Supreme Court's made it clear over and over again, you can't force somebody to say in one breath what they deny in the next. And yet that's what the government's trying to do right here.
Will the election of Donald Trump and his administration, a much more conservative-leaning cabinet, and possibly appointments to the Supreme Court, again leaning towards conservatism, will this absolutely, in your mind, throw this kind of garbage out of court?
No, not at all. I mean, the states and local governments will continue coming after it. This fight is not going away. Until, even if it goes up to the Supreme Court, where I would be hopeful we would have be able to vindicate the rights of expressive professionals to be able to speak according to their faith. I'd be very hopeful once we get one of these cases up to the Supreme Court, but I don't think they're going away anytime soon. These are cases where local governments, where state governments are coming after these artists, and they're not going to be deterred by election results. It's not something that the federal government really has sway over. So these cases aren't going away anytime soon. those who are pushing these and saying, no, everyone has to conform, they're not going to stop. They're going to keep coming. And here at Alliance Defending Freedom, we're going to keep fighting for the right of everybody to speak freely and preserve the freedom for everybody. It's not, we think, the government shouldn't come in there and force you to speak a message that you disagree with, whether you agree with us or not. We think dissenting opinion should be free here in America. It reminds me of something Ronald Reagan said. He said, we don't pass freedom down in our bloodstream to our children. He said, we have to fight for it. We have to fight for it every day, and if we don't, if we become lackadaisical, if we don't fight for freedom for everybody, said someday we'll be sitting on our porches telling our children or our grandchildren what it used to be like in America when it was free.
And
I want to leave a free America to my children,
absolutely,
where we can disagree, where the Larsons and my kids, they might have disagreements about all kinds of things, but they can speak freely without the government coming in and saying, hey, we don't like what you said. We're going to put you in jail, fine you out of business if you disagree with us.
Well, and I'm so glad you worded it that way at the almost the end of our segment. But not that I'm wishing for a problem or a fight, but I can see it looming on the horizon with Limbaugh and myself and many other people that opinion programs and a opinion on morality and an opinion on what's happening in our society, I can see where the left is going to really crack down on us and demand through their absolutely brainless twit minds that we give the other side of the story in every broadcast, and that can never happen. I mean, you will see the absolute death of free speech.
Yep. No, I mean, it really could be that. It's not too far-fetched for a law like this to be applied to say, you here, Zeb, you give out your phone number and you allow people to call in.
Yep.
Rush Limbaugh allows people to call in. And but your producers pick and choose who comes on the air. Some may be better to produce and others not. Some may want to go on their own rant that really wouldn't be helpful to the listeners. But you have that right as a producer to pick and choose what messages you share on your show.
Yep.
But they might come in there and say, hey, you allow anybody to call in, you have to allow this opposing viewpoint to get on there. And some shows may want to do that. Others may not want to, but it should be your right as a producer to decide
absolutely
what messages you're going to express on your show.
Absolutely, and I will continue to do that because I own this program, and like I said, nobody tells me who's on the show or what the content is. I will pull the plug. We have a quick call, and it's got to be quick because I'm running late, caller. Go ahead quickly, please.
I promise it will be. I was wondering if the Alliance Defending Freedom would have supported gay unions. That is a civil union, but not call it a marriage. Thank you. I'll listen off air.
Go ahead, if you would, Caleb, please.
Sure. I think, the Alliance Defending Freedom opposed most of those statutes and proposals. And one of the primary reasons is, if you look throughout history, they were all used as a stick to lead to the complete redefinition of marriage.
Right.
That was actually one of the arguments those in California made opposing Proposition 8 that defined marriage between a man and a woman, because California did have civil unions, and they said, you're not treating civil unions the same as marriage, and we have the right to be called a marriage as well. So it was really kind of a Trojan horse that led to the complete redefinition of marriage.
Right. Caleb, I'm out of time. I absolutely thank you for coming on and talking about this subject this morning. Please keep me informed as to what's happening with this case. And before I let you go, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas. Y'all have a good one.
Thank you very, very much. Alliance Defending Freedom, Caleb Dalton on the phone with us this morning, and we appreciate it. Can you imagine the government telling us the content that we have to put on these programs? Not going to happen. I got to pay some bills, and I got to get a weather forecast on here real quick. And the weather brought to you by Pope Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin and Company CPAs, Curtis Pope, Todd Phillips, Rob Oaks, Mitch Goodwin, and Leiden Crane, providing accounting services to the Minicash area for well over 50 years. The best of tax return preparation, tax planning, bookkeeping services, retirement planning, all of this and more in Burley and Rupert. Pope Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin and Company CPAs. Here's Scotty with the weather.
Oh, man, it is super cold outside. I am Scotty Cameron sitting in for Gina Jameson for your Zeb at the Ranch weather forecast. For today, going to see some increasing clouds. Highs are going to be around 23. Yeah, only 23. Mostly cloudy tonight. Still going to be around 23 for tomorrow. Looks like we're going to have a wintry mix, maybe a little rain, a little snow. Who knows? Highs are going to be around 38. Chance of rain and partly cloudy for tomorrow night. Lows around 19. Sunny on Wednesday. Highs are going to only reach around 31. Then as we move into the weekend, going to have a little bit of a chance of the white stuff. Maybe a white Christmas. Who knows? There you go. That's your Zeb of the Ranch weather forecast. I'm Scotty Cameron.
Scotty, thank you much. Brought to you, everybody, this hour by Pope Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, and Company CPAs. They are the best. Don't forget, end of the year for your tax planning, and especially the 1099s that need to be mailed out. Check with them, the best. Pope Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, and Company CPAs. Make an appointment today to see them, talk to them, and let them help you in Burley and Rupert. Holy smokes, I'm running late, and we've got all kinds of goodies left on the program this morning, so don't go away. Want to remind you, too, about Streamline Precision and, of course, Tim Vaughn. Oh, my buddy, Streamline Precision Building. And the number to call, 431-7314. Dairyman, if you're thinking of remodeling or building new structures, now. Right now is the time. Yep, they can get it done so it's ready to go in the spring. All the steel buildings and, of course, the commodity storage facilities, maternity barns, all of this and so much more. You get a hold of Tim Vaughn today. 431-7314. Streamline Precision Building. They absolutely wish you and yours a very Merry Christmas. Oh, let's see what else have I got cooking here. We gave away our cookies earlier last hour. Tomorrow on the program, don't forget we're going to have Frosty Woldridge, and we're going to have Lyden Crane, and we're going to have Dr. History. We got a bunch of great people coming on the show tomorrow. I want to remind you, if you're still Christmas shopping, I know a great place to go. I love going out there at Sportsman's Warehouse, 1940 Bridgeview Boulevard in Twin Falls. Reese Widmeyer. I've known Reese almost all of his life. This guy is really a straight shooter, great manager of Sportsman's Warehouse in Twin Falls. And I talked to him the other day on the program, and he said, or the other day on the telephone, I should say, right now they have the lowest prices of the season with 10% off firearms and ammunition. You can get Sportsman's Warehouse logo hoodies, save 50%. Wow. And 20% off all the Thermos products, insulated bottles and mugs. There's a great big Christmas sale going on right now, right this very minute, at Sportsman's Warehouse, 1940 Bridgeview Boulevard in Twin Falls. You get in there for Merry, Merry Christmas. I really am in the Christmas spirit. I got my Christmas tree right here. We're going to be over at Denny's on Wednesday for our Christmas party. And then we have our open house right here while I'm on the air Thursday. And lots of goodies and lots of good people coming by to say and wish you a Merry Christmas. And we'll have some Christmas poems, and we'll have maybe a few Christmas songs here and there. Going to be a lot of fun. Really into the spirit of Christmas. I hope you and your family are too. Let's see, what else have I got cooking here? We are, of course, the cold weather. I want to urge you to take care of your animals and your pets. It's been down, hovering around zero, with the wind chill below zero over the weekend. And all your dogs, kitty cats, all your animals, make sure they've got somewhat protection for these cold temperatures. And it looks like, from Scotty's weather forecast, it's going to stay like this for the next couple of days. Wheels, have you got all your Christmas shopping done?
I have. I just have to make sure that my grandma's able to bring over the gift for you and Deanne on Wednesday for the Denny's remote.
Well, I got to tell you, though, if your grandmother's going to be there, that's a good thing, because right back at you, Deanne and I want to make sure you get your Christmas present. You've been really a godsend to help us on this program and everything. And not knowing you as well as I should off the air, I took a stab in the dark at a Christmas present that I hope you don't go to the return aisle.
No, and I hope that what I get you guys end up liking it too, just because, since I started, I kind of came, in this with a blindfold over my eyes, and just the past few years, you and Deanne have been so helpful, especially when I got into that car accident, and it's just, kind of a gift from me to you guys for, always being there for me and supporting me when...
You're a good man, McGee. You're a good man. And a real Santa's elf. Hey, I got to break away and go to CBS News right now, and we're going to come back, and we've got a whole bunch more on Zeb at the Ranch. Wheels, take it away, buddy. Good morning, Merry Christmas, and a Happy New Year to you, all of that and more. Thank you so much for all your cards, letters, your thoughts, your calls, everything. We appreciate it. I'm Zeb Bell. Welcome back to Zeb at the Ranch for our last hour on this Monday. And with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, along with some of our great advertisers like Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Call them. Get on the route service, 734-6969. I got to tell you, I ran across a story the other day in the newspaper that absolutely is one of the most ridiculous sounding stories I have ever read in my life, and I'm going to give that to you in a minute, and I want your help in helping me understand the lunacy of this story. So I'll get to that in just a minute. Don't forget Streamline Precision with Tim Vaughn. I was talking about them last hour. I've talked about them for many, many days. Streamline Precision with Tim Vaughn, and they have all the pre-engineered steel buildings, the Nucor, the Prime, the Sioux Cup, and believe me, long-lasting and maintenance-free. Well, Streamline Precision wants to go to work helping you with any building you need on your property for your dairy, your farm, your ranch, your business, whatever. And now, right now, is a perfect time to call for a bid on what you need. Call them at 431-7314. 431-7314. Streamline Precision, Tim Vaughn. They want to get to work serving you. Okay, calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Santa Claus wishes, before we get underway with that weird story in just a moment, Santa Claus wishes from Magic Valley Carpet, 613 D Street in Rupert. Oh my goodness, they've got all your new carpet. Why don't you treat yourself to a present to yourself for the new year? Brand new carpet in your home. Oh, they would love to help you at Magic Valley Carpet, 613 D Street in Rupert, 436-1722, wishing you a Merry Christmas. Along with some really great guys, and I mean that, Senator Kelly Anthon, Representative and Speaker of the House Scott Bedke, and Representative Fred Wood would like to wish all their constituents a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and they thank everybody who has supported them in the past and also looking forward to the future. Senator Kelly Anthon, Representative Scott Bedke, and Representative Fred Woods, Merry, Merry Christmas. And last but not least, our friends over at Redder Showcase, 2611 Overland in Burley. Oh my! Last-minute Santa shoppers better get in there. They've got all the furniture, Stanton furniture. They've got all the best in mattresses. They've got the very best in appliances with Whirlpool, Maytag, and Amana. Better get in there. 12 months, same as cash, on approved credit. Redder Showcase, 2611 Overland and Burley, wishing you and yours a very Merry Christmas. Okay. Now, first of all, I do not want to encounter a grizzly bear anywhere. I mean, that old bear sitting there in the bushes, just kind of looking at me, an old fat guy on crutches. Lunch! I'm history. But I read a story in the paper the other day that made no sense to me whatsoever. So please, somebody help me out. The headline of the story was, Grizzly Bear Committee gets rid of 6-second bear spray rule. What? I'll just read a little bit of it to you. It says a group of grizzly bear managers is dropping its recommendation for how long people should spray a can of bear spray when they encounter a charging grizzly. Some people are saying that they no longer, no longer recommend 6 seconds. Some are recommending that you only spray for 4 to 5 seconds. Now, the reason I think this is based on complete idiocy is who in the heck is going to count 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004 when there's a grizzly bear trying to eat your arms and legs and finish the rest of you for dessert? This is the dumbest story I've ever read in my life, unless I'm missing something. And this committee said that the group wants to encourage people to use bear spray safely. That's great. That's what you carry the doggone stuff for, is to be safe. And yet I still question the fact that why would they criticize anybody for going through the hills and the canyons and encountering a grizzly bear and saying, well, you sprayed too long, that we don't like that. Huh? You just keep spraying until that canister runs out. You don't want that dude anywhere close to you. And somebody that knows more about this than I do, what in the world are they talking about? A 6 seconds bear spray rule. Somebody give me a call at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. One of the dumbest things I ever heard in my life. Absolutely. Tragedy that this man is no longer with us. And I mean that. I had a chance to meet this man, it's been at least 10 years ago. And that was ESPN's Craig Sager. What a great broadcaster he was, and absolutely a great sports figure with all of his wild and wacky sports jackets and ties and weird outfits and everything. But he passed away from leukemia cancer, and he will be sorely missed. And one thing that they said on Turner Sports, President David Levy said that there will never be another Craig Sager. He did a wonderful job, especially in the NBA, of going to the sidelines and drawing out some information that other interviewers couldn't get, and with his wild sports jackets and his good sense of humor and everything, he will be sorely missed. All right, calls are welcome. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a jingle on the landline. I would love to visit with you, please, while I do these commercials. Want to also remind you about our friends that sponsor A Child's World and Ambulatory Surgery Center, Cassia County School Days on Thursdays. Now, we will not have Cassia County School Days this Thursday. We'll be doing our open house here. I think Debbie's going to try to drop by. But we want to pay thank you to A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley. They've got all your toys and family games and books and puzzles, clothing. I mean, it's really quite a store. You need to get in there and do some Christmas shopping right now today at A Child's World, 1308 Overland in Burley. And the other sponsor of Cassia County School Days is the Ambulatory Surgery Center at 1344 Highland in Burley for your outpatient surgeries to save you a lot of money. 677-8888. That number again to make an appointment, 677-8888. Ambulatory Surgery Center and A Child's World, bringing you school days in Cassia County. All right, your calls, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a jingle, please. I would love to talk to you, so get on the landline, give us a call. There was an article that was written in the Wall Street Journal by Daniel Henniger. I've seen him and listened to him on various talk shows, etc. And he wrote an article that this is the year that Christmas died. And he cited many, many examples about how Christmas as a public event is dying in the United States. And he gave a lot of the so-called credit underlined to people and items and universities that this year, and stores, Christmas is having a death knell. I hope not. He said that after he toured the historic heart of Fifth Avenue in New York, which for generations and generations, American families have come to New York in December to really get in the spirit of Christmas and bask in the glow of Christmas with all the shops and the restaurants and the evergreen trees along Park Avenue and all the windows that are dressed up for Christmas and everything. He said basically, it's gone. He said this year, Fifth Avenue is pretty much nothing as it used to be in celebration of Christmas. And in his article, he said that the magnificent Rockefeller Center Christmas tree still stands. And directly across on Fifth Avenue is St. Patrick's Cathedral, and has a great, big, huge green wreath on the front door. But up and down that famous Fifth Avenue, you will hardly see anything with Christmas. Not merely just a tree, or any of the colors, but hardly any of the lights. Most of it, as he describes in this article in the Wall Street Journal, anti-Christmas. And he said that forget public nativity scenes. And he said on Fifth Avenue this year, you can't even find a Santa Claus or his elves. And he said that some of the absolute repulsive window dressings, and he said they are repulsive, are changing the terminology to what's called a winter palace. And he goes on in his article, and this is where I want you to respond and tell me what you think. He goes on in his article to say that eventually, and I'm quoting now from the article, eventually the Christmas holiday will be forbidden, forgotten, and filed away in attic boxes. But he says, maybe God, in his usual mysterious way, is nudging us back toward the beginning once the inevitable Federal Office of Diversity and Inclusion has joined with the commercial cynics at Saks and Bergdorf's to suppress Santa. What pretext will parents have to give gifts to their Christmas-cleansed children in the future? And he honestly thinks that maybe they're pushing too hard too fast to where maybe Christmas might start making a comeback. And he said, quote, unless celebrating Christmas in America becomes a prosecuting crime, as it was in the Soviet Union, families will go to church in the morning to renew the beginnings of their faith and then spend the day at home listening to pirated copies of carols and hymns on Bing Crosby's White Christmas album. For radical refuseniks, he recommends playing at the highest possible volume The Bells of St. Mary's, and also A Christmas Gift for You. And he said, I have 2 words this season, and he said, my words are Merry Christmas, and don't stop. How do you feel about that? Is Christmas dying? Are we letting it go? Are we just basically doing the shopping and putting up the tree and not really celebrating the real reason of the season? What are your thoughts on that? Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I'd like to hear what your comments are. Come on, don't let me down. Give me a call. Well, I'm waiting for your call. Quickly, I want to remind you that we'll be over at Denny's Restaurant at 611 Overland on Wednesday, and we're going to be broadcasting live and direct over there for the full 3 hours, and we've got prizes to give away, and we're going to have an old-fashioned Christmas of everybody kind of gathering around and sing carols and just have a good old time and enjoy the great food. So come on by Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner on Wednesday for our Zeb at the Ranch old-fashioned Christmas party. Going to be a lot of fun. Come on, give us a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Wheels, what did you do for Christmas that you still kind of hang on to and cherish as part of, kind of a Christmas tradition? What do you do?
Getting together with the family and, just celebrating Jesus' birth and just being able to spend the time as a family and, because during the year, we kind of do our own things. We kind of do something separate, and so when Christmas comes around, it's kind of nice when the family gets together all as one, and we all get to talk about what we did throughout the year.
Yeah. Any special food?
Like
any special food that you and your family have primarily on Christmas?
I'd say, well, as far as I go, I'd say the pie.
Ah, boy.
I think the pie is pretty special when it comes to everything because I think that's the first thing that everybody, sets their eyes on is, well, after we all get done eating, I think I might take a big piece of that.
All right, now
cherry cobbler pie.
Oh, cherry cobbler pie?
Cherry cobbler or peach cobbler. My grandma made a cherry pie one time, and I thought it was pretty good.
Oh, my.
Kind of had a sweet, sour taste to it. It was pretty good.
Now, let me ask you, did your family open your gifts that you exchange with your family? Do you do that in the evening on Christmas Eve or early in the morning on Christmas morning?
We usually like to keep it traditional and do it, in the morning. It's always been like that since we were kids. It was waking us up at 8 o'clock in the morning and saying, "Oh, Santa came," and so it's just kind of like we've just always kept it, to that because that's what we're used to.
8 o'clock in the morning? You slept until 8 o'clock when I was a kid? My sister and I used to be sitting at the top of the stairs upstairs, looking down at the door, waiting for them to open at 4 a.m.
Wow. See, that's as you get older, you kind of tend to take in your sleep a lot more. Okay. I think when you're a kid, you have so much energy that you can go to bed at, 10, 11 o'clock at night, and you can be up by 5 in the morning. And that's what I did when I was younger. I was always up at 6 in the morning, ready to open my Christmas presents. And now it's kind of like I kind of bounce between the two and, sleeping until 8, and then by 9, I'm ready to do my thing.
Did you have any special Christmas breakfast? I remember my mom always made a Christmas strudel. It's kind of a German pastry. And every year we'd get finished opening up the Christmas presents, and we'd sit there, and everybody'd go, ooh, and ah, oh, that's great. And then when we got done with that, we'd all go out to the kitchen, and Mom would have all that big strudel with eggs and bacon. Oh, man, that was great. Great breakfast.
See, I didn't get a strudel. I really wish my mom would make strudels, but it's the old-fashioned pancakes. And, like you said, with the sausage and the bacon, and if you're lucky, you might get waffles mixed in with that, and that's kind of what we do most of the time. So it's always good to wake up and be able to smell fresh cooked pancakes.
Oh, yeah, and then my dad would go out and he'd do the chores on Christmas morning, and I'd fumble on with my boots and everything and get out there to help him. But the snow back in Wisconsin was so doggone deep, and it was so cold at Christmas time that it took forever to get the chores done for my dad to get back in the house, and then we could open our gifts. But that was the rule in our house. The animals all had to be fed. Everything had to be watered before we could even think about sitting under the Christmas tree.
Yep, that's pretty much how my dad is. When we wake up, he always tells us, "Oh, you got to make sure that the cats get their food and the dogs get their food." And we got some pygmy goats, so it's kind of like we have to make sure that the pygmy goats get their hay every morning.
Okay, you got kind of your own nativity scene over there.
We do. We even had a couple mini horses, and unfortunately we had to get rid of them. But at the time they were great. It's nice. We kind of had our own little ranch, if you want to call it that. And so I never had no problems going out in the morning.
Oh.
Sure that they all got fed.
Well, I want to extend to you, now, are you going to be over at your folks, or what are you going to do on Christmas? You've already celebrated Christmas a little bit, haven't you?
I did, because my dad works in the oil field in Colorado.
Yeah.
So we did our Christmas early as a family, but on Christmas I will be going over to my grandparents after they do their thing and open their Christmas presents. And I'll just kind of spend some time with my grandparents. We'll talk about, maybe some things that went on through the year.
Okay.
Things that have been happening now, and that's just what I plan on doing on Christmas. Now that my dad already left this morning, I'll go and spend some time with my extended family and just kind of enjoy the time, that we only rarely get throughout the year.
I tell you what now, you might pass a message along to your grandmother, and if she really makes a lot of peach and cherry pies, or any kind of maybe a peach strudel or whatever, you might just pass the word that you know somebody that would absolutely relish a piece of that. Sounds pretty good to me.
I can definitely do that, and that kind of, now that you bring that idea up, that kind of sounds good. Kind of like a peach pie strudel.
Oh boy!
I don't know how you would do that, but I kind of figure like a nice golden fluffy peach pie.
That's enough, Wheels.
The white strudel.
Yes.
Stuff put on top. It's the icing. That sounds good.
Oh my goodness! I'm looking forward to Christmas. Now we might tell everybody, and we'll kind of give them advance notice on this, that after Christmas, this next Sunday, next week, I want to inform everybody that Deanna and I are going to take a couple of days just to get out of Dodge City and kind of enjoy ourselves a little bit. We might even stay home all 4 days. I don't know, but we're going to be running some replays of Zeb at the Ranch between Christmas and New Year's, and Old Wheels is going to be engineering that to make sure they all get on the air and everything. But we just wanted to let everybody know so that if they hear something on the air, then they say, well, I think Zeb had that on the program before. Well, yes, I did, because we're going to be playing some replay programs from the past next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So we thought maybe we better tell everybody.
Yes, and that's good. And I will definitely be in here myself. I'll make sure that everything is tip-top for you, and I just hope that you and Deanne can enjoy your Christmas, and with the family that comes over, that you guys, can
well, we're
have a great time.
Well, Jake's not able to come down this year and be a part of our Christmas because he's on duty at the fire department up in Boise. But what we're going to do is pick a day or two and try to run up there and spend some time with them. And so trying to get everything taken care of with trying to still be on the air didn't work out. So our dear friend John Ellis has got everything set up on some of our replay programs, and we're looking forward to it. But Wheels, we can't do it without you. Thanks for all your help.
You're welcome, sir. And if you guys plan on traveling, stay safe. I'm pretty sure that the interstate's probably still pretty crazy, and with Mother Nature, it's inevitable.
All right.
What she could pull on us.
I appreciate it. Well, right now, we're coming up next half hour, we've got a lady on the program from Boise that is going to be by the name of Brandy Swindell, and I'm looking forward to having her on the show this morning. And she absolutely is against Planned Parenthood and what they have done and what they continue to do. So we'll have her on the program in just a few minutes, but right now, we're going to turn this over to Wheels, and we've got this hard break at the bottom of the hour. Don't go away. We'll be back with more Zeb at the Ranch.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Oh, thank you so much. Welcome back. And we're going to have our guest with us momentarily. Brandy Swindell will be on the telephone with us. Stand by in just a second or two, as we also want to give you some great Christmas wishes from the Goodie Shop at 133 West Main in Burley. Shelley and the crew can make it a very, very interesting and very tasty Christmas wish for someone you love or like to give a basket to of cookies or fruit or whatever, sandwiches. They make all kinds of different baskets at the Goody Shop, and every one of them are delicious. Get a hold of her today, 133 West Main in Burley, 647-0106. The Goody Shop, wishing you and yours a very Merry Christmas. Along with the Burley Area Merchants Association, my goodness, shop locally and save money and really help keep the economy growing in our area. And don't forget that the Burley Area Merchants Association wishing you and your family a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And last but not least, the Fairfield Inn and Suites of Burley, 237 West, 7th Street North in Burley. The number to call, 677-5000. Newly renovated, and what a great place for your relatives and friends to stay during Christmas. That's right. When you invite them over, don't let them stay all night and tie up your bathroom. Let them go to the Fairfield Inn and Suites of Burley, and they absolutely will love it. Call today, 677-5000. Make your reservations right now. Fairfield Inn and Suites of Burley, wishing you and yours a very Merry Christmas. And without further ado, let's see if I got one more to do. I can take care of that a little bit later this morning, but I want to also remind you about Sportsman's Warehouse, 1940 Bridgeview Boulevard in Twin Falls. Reese and the whole crew wishing you and yours a very Merry Christmas, and reminding you right now at Sportsman's Warehouse, the lowest prices of the season with 10% off on firearms and ammunition, and also don't forget 20% off on all the thermos products, insulated bottles and mugs. Lots of great last-minute Christmas shopping at the Sportsman's Warehouse, 1940 Bridgeview Boulevard in Twin Falls. Let's go to the phone line right now and say good morning to a lovely lady, and I think, if memory serves me correct, I've had her on the program one other time. Brandy Swindell, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing well, thank you.
It's so nice to have you on the show. Now, help me. I'm an old man with a poor memory. Didn't you and weren't you on the program, maybe a year ago?
I believe so, yes. Yes. Appreciate being on your show and the awareness that you create for organizations like mine and for important causes. So I appreciate you and your listeners for having me back again.
Well, why don't you just stop right there and remind me and my listeners, tell us a little bit about your organization, tell us a little bit about what your hopes and aspirations are, and then I'll start asking questions. Go ahead.
Okay, sounds good. So I am the founder of a nonprofit organization called Stanton Healthcare. We are a life-affirming women's center that wants to make sure that women have access to quality health care and alternatives to abortion. And so I've been doing pro-life work on a local level and also on a national and even international level for 17 years. It's been sort of a calling on my life and something I'm passionate about in my heart for a variety of reasons. I believe that human rights begin in the womb and that women deserve better than abortion and they deserve better than what Planned Parenthood has to offer them. And so our strategy with our center, with Stanton Healthcare, is that we set up shop right next door to Planned Parenthood. We go where the women are to make sure that they know that there's a place of hope and a place of compassion when they're facing a situation that may be unexpected or unplanned. So we have a Stanton Healthcare Clinic located in Boise, right next door to the Planned Parenthood there. We also have a Stanton Healthcare in Twin Falls, right there in Magic Valley. We have a 36-foot Class A mobile clinic, Stanton Mobile Clinic, that goes out to high schools, college campuses, rural communities, underserved communities around the state. And we've also launched our national and international affiliate program. So we actually have a Stanton Southern California, a Stanton Charlotte, soon to be a Stanton Detroit. We also opened our first international affiliate in Belfast, Ireland, Stanton Belfast, and we are preparing to launch in January. I'm really excited about this, a Stanton Public Policy Center in Washington, D.C.
Wow.
To really combat the work of Planned Parenthood. Our mission and our heart is to replace Planned Parenthood.
Wow. I mean, it sounds to me that you have a very... You've got a very daunting task ahead of you. Let's kind of break this down a little bit. Boise, Twin Falls, and a traveling trailer basically for help and assistance. I'll bet you are the least liked of Planned Parenthood anywhere in the state. Are you making inroads, and are people becoming more aware of Stanton Healthcare?
Absolutely. Our brand and our identity is, again, being a center that wants to have a high standard of medical excellence. We are staffed by volunteer nurses, volunteer sonographers. One of the key components of what we do is providing ultrasound exams at no charge. We believe strongly that knowledge is power, and that when women have access to scientifically, medically accurate information through ultrasound imaging, and they see the tiny heartbeat of their baby, and they see that first image of their baby, there's bonding that occurs, there's truth that is real and relevant, and our statistics show that over 90% of women who come through our doors who receive an ultrasound exam at no charge, window to the womb, and they receive counseling from one of our trained client advocates or one of our nurses or medical professionals, they end up deciding to parent that child or place that baby for adoption. They choose life instead of abortion. And again, it comes down to that, giving women access to quality care, giving them medically, scientifically accurate information, and then giving them the resources they need, baby supplies, maternity clothes. We have an 18-month care program, nutritional classes, parenting classes, mommy and me classes, daddy boot camps. The list goes on and on, the services that we can provide.
Wow.
So all of that to say, we have actually been getting a lot of inroads and support here in the Treasure Valley, in Idaho, and even beyond. There's been actually, Stanton, we're very excited about this. We were recently featured in Cosmopolitan magazine. They flew out a reporter to Boise. The journalist interviewed our clients, interviewed me, our staff and volunteers. She was with us for 2 days, and it was a beautiful feature piece in Cosmopolitan magazine, which is typically a pro-choice or pro-abortion-leaning publication. And the article is phenomenal. We couldn't have written it better ourselves. And so I'm an evangelical Christian. I'm motivated by my faith. And there's a verse in the Bible that says, "Let the justice of your cause shine like the noonday sun." And we have been seeing that. As much as Planned Parenthood wants to tear us down, Planned Parenthood is a business. They're the largest abortion provider in the world, in the nation, and here in Idaho. They have recently attacked us and slandered us, and we'll get more into that, I'm sure, here in a couple minutes. But the reality is people of goodwill, whether that they are in the pro-life movement or not, or have pro-life beliefs, just people of goodwill who may not be on the pro-choice or pro-life side, see the goodness of what we're doing, and because of that, we are getting more and more support, which is really important for a nonprofit like ours.
You know, Brandy, let me ask you this. Of course, I've always found it to be almost a heinous crime that Planned Parenthood gets millions and millions and millions of taxpayer dollars to keep their abortion tactics in front of the public. What about funding for you? I mean, how do you afford, and where does your money come from?
Well, we are a true grassroots nonprofit organization. Again, I founded this organization in 2006. It's been a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to raise the support and build this organization. And we are funded by people just like you and me, and like your listeners. People say, "Hey, I can give $50 a month. I can give $100 a month." Businessmen who can give a larger donation, $100,000, $50,000. Churches who support us, civic organizations. We are privately funded. We haven't received one penny from the government. But I'm really glad you brought this up, because how is it that the largest abortion provider in the nation, Planned Parenthood, 40% of their budget is paid for by the citizens, by the taxpayers, because of the money that they receive from the federal government? And so part of what Stanton's trying to do is to work to even replace that, to pull that funding that's going to Planned Parenthood and have it go to organizations like Stanton. Or it doesn't make any sense that people who find abortion to be wrong, like you and I do, a grave human rights violation and beneath the dignity of women, that we would be forced against the tenets of our own faith and belief system to pay for through our tax dollars to fund or underwrite the largest abortion business in the nation. And so Planned Parenthood, we believe, has no right to have access to taxpayer money and federal funding. And we are going to be working in Washington, D.C. with other organizations to defund Planned Parenthood and then make sure that we have a model like Stanton Healthcare that's able to replace the work of Planned Parenthood by providing life-affirming solutions to unexpected pregnancy.
Absolutely. I think basically maybe the words, you have an appreciation of life rather than a diminishment of life.
Absolutely. I think it comes down to a basic understanding of the inherent value of every human life, and that there is an author of life, a creator of life, and really, you don't have to be a person of faith to be pro-life, just like you don't have to be a person of faith to know that it's wrong to do a variety of other things that we find abhorrent in this world, to be against sex trafficking, to be against drug use, to be all these different things. It's just a common sense thing. We should not be killing our offspring. We should not be taking the life of children. And for me, there's two really important things. Number one, I believe in the inherent value of every human life. I believe in the dignity of the preborn child, and that we don't have the right to take life. And then secondly, I believe that abortion is a horrible affront against women. The feminist movement and the abortion lobby have lied to women and have said, if you want to believe in equal rights for women, if you want to be an empowered woman, then you have to believe in abortion on demand. And I can tell you, as a woman, that is the biggest lie ever. The original founding sisters from the suffragette movement, one of them being Elizabeth Cady Stanton, who we are named after, who believed in fighting for women's right to vote, to work, to speak in public, to own property, to run for office, all those different things that are important. Those women were pro-life, and this is even before abortion was legalized, but there were tonics you could drink and different things like that. And Elizabeth Cady Stanton said, if we don't want to be treated as property ourselves, why would we treat our children as property?
Absolutely.
Okay? It is beneath the dignity of women to support abortion on demand or to have abortions. And I also want to say to anybody listening, this is not about judgment or condemnation. I know many women, family members, and friends who have had an abortion. And let me tell you, and this is statistically proven as well, the majority of women who have abortions regret their decision and suffer what's called post-abortion stress. And so there is healing and forgiveness and hope. And I just want any woman listening who may be struggling with that pain, Google Stanton Healthcare. We have post-abortion outreach. Go to your local church. Go to a pastor. Go to a trusted friend, that you can find hope. Because, again, abortion is a violent act against a woman's body. It affects her spiritually, emotionally, physically, short-term and long-term. We've got to do better for women. We've got to do better for children. We've got to do better for families.
Absolutely. Brandy, let me, in the time remaining, I've got about 5 minutes left, but let me ask you a little bit about, you mentioned in your opening remarks that you try to place your business, Stanton Healthcare, almost right next door to Planned Parenthood. I'll bet they really send you Christmas cards.
Yes. Oh, yes. Let's just say they're not real happy about Stanton. But let me tell you, this exposes their hearts. Because aren't they supposed to be about choice? Isn't that their main talking point? They're about choice, pro-choice, women having access to abortion and whatever choice they want. Well, we have found with Stanton Healthcare, they're not actually about other choices. In fact, this has come to a head recently with Stanton Healthcare. I was served a couple weeks ago. Planned Parenthood is suing Stanton Healthcare.
Really?
And they're trying to restrict women from having access to our services. And this is a very troubling lawsuit because we kind of talked about earlier. Number one, it's a heartbreaking thing to see Planned Parenthood participate in the act of abortion. Secondly, it goes to another level when they are forcing the taxpayers to participate in the act of abortion by using our tax dollars to fund their work. Third, it goes to a whole nother level when they are now trying to prevent us from doing good. They're trying to prevent us from providing another alternative to women. And so people of goodwill should find this lawsuit very, very troubling. Now, we're going to fight it. We have local counsel from Washington, D.C. We don't believe that they have legal grounds to do this. And this actually becomes a property rights issue, too, because I'm excited to let your listeners know and you that we were able to buy property, land, right next door to the Planned Parenthood in Meridian. And our plan is to build the first ever life-affirming mega center from the ground up right next door to this Planned Parenthood abortion mega center in Meridian that recently opened. So we bought the land, we paid it off, and we have been taking our mobile clinic out there peacefully and prayerfully, parking it in front of our property, staffed by our nurses and our sonographers. And we have a sign that says walk-ins welcome, ultrasounds and pregnancy support at no charge. And Planned Parenthood is trying to sue us to prevent us from having our mobile on our own property that we own next door to their clinic.
Let me ask you, Brandy.
So I invite your listeners to pray for us, to stand with us. We've launched a GoFundMe campaign for anybody that, like I said earlier, we are a grassroots nonprofit organization. We're not made of money. We work hard. People of goodwill support us. If anybody wants to give, they can go to our Stanton Healthcare GoFundMe page or go to the StantonProject.org to help us with our legal fund and our legal fight. But you know what? We believe that this is going to work against Planned Parenthood. It's going to expose their heart, and it's going to work in Stanton's favor because the work that we're doing is so important. And do you know what's most powerful? It's the women that walk through our doors who come up to me or to our clinic manager or one of our volunteers or nurses, and with a tear in their eye, they say, I don't know what I would have done with Stanton.
Absolutely.
Without Stanton, excuse me. I was going to have an abortion. You guys helped me, and now I have my little baby girl or my little baby boy. I don't know what I would have done without Stanton. And so that's why we're not going to stop. That's the voice we listen to, and we're not going to let Planned Parenthood bully us.
Real quick, and I'm down to the last minute, make a short answer on this, Brandy, but how in the world, I don't understand how on your own property they can legislate and dictate what is permissible or not. I don't see how this court case has any legs to stand on.
Yeah, exactly. On principle, it absolutely doesn't. Planned Parenthood, of course, and their legal team from Seattle, it's Planned Parenthood of the Greater Northwest that's suing us, which is based in Seattle. Planned Parenthood of Idaho is part of that. They're going after us with two technicalities. One is that we're in violation of the association code, that we're operating a business in the common area, the parking spots. Now, it's not much of a business because we're not charging for any of our services, and we fall what's called the Good Samaritan law because we're a nonprofit and we're a charity. And also, nobody else in the complex has complained. We're reviewing the association bylaws and rules. We don't feel that they have standing there, but Planned Parenthood is trying to, be smart about it in their mind and going after us on technicalities. But we know the principle of what they're doing. They want us gone.
Okay.
And nobody else has complained. So we're gonna fight that. The other thing is they are falsely accusing us of inviting other groups and people onto our property, and those people are creating a nuisance and supposedly harassing women, bothering women, all that kind of stuff. Stanton has very strict policies against that. We're a professional organization. We're loving. We're compassionate. We give women the opportunity and the free choice to come to us if they feel so in their heart. But they're trying to blame us for what other people are supposedly doing, which is almost laughable if this wasn't such a serious lawsuit. Our attorneys were almost laughing about it because we're not responsible for what other people are doing, and we haven't invited other people onto our property. So that's the very first thing that we're going to respond with, is that is a false accusation and has nothing to do with us. So again, we don't think they have a strong or solid position. We're hoping, praying, and believing we're going to be victorious. And we're really looking forward to breaking ground and getting our building built next to them. That's kind of one of our responses as well. We're just going to get rolling even faster than we were going to and get our building built.
All right, one real quick answer to this. I'm down to the last 15 seconds. Website where people can find out more information quickly.
Yes, the StantonProject.org.
Okay.
StantonProject.org. They can go on there, find tons of information. There's a donation link, volunteer applications, news articles. The Cosmo article is on there. So, yeah, I encourage your listeners to go check us out, the StantonProject.org.
All right. Brandy, do me a favor and get a hold of me after the first of the year. We'll do another program on this. God bless, Merry Christmas, and keep up the good fight. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
Merry Christmas.
Take care. Thank you very much. Brandy Swindell with the Stanton Healthcare Systems for Women, and I think it's very, very important, and we'll have a follow-up on that program in the future. Oh, my goodness sakes, I got to run. Weather forecast, Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome, changing the way we eat one delicious bite at a time. Get a hold of them. They've got great meat gift boxes for Christmas. Oh, delicious. Changing the way we eat one delicious bite at a time. Scarrows Meats. Here's Scotty with the weather.
Oh, man, it is super cold outside. I am Scotty Cameron sitting in for Gina Jameson for your Zeb at the Ranch weather forecast. For today, going to see some increasing clouds. Highs are going to be around 23. Yeah, only 23. Mostly cloudy tonight. Still going to be around 23 for tomorrow. Looks like we're going to have a wintry mix, maybe a little rain, a little snow. Who knows? Highs are going to be around 38. Chance of rain and partly cloudy for tomorrow night. Lows around 19. Sunny on Wednesday. Highs are going to only reach around 31. Then as we move into the weekend, going to have a little bit of a chance of the white stuff. Maybe a white Christmas. Who knows? There you go. That's your Zeb of the Ranch weather forecast. I'm Scotty Cameron.
You do a great job, Scotty. Thank you so much. Don't forget your hometown meat cutter, locally owned custom meat processor for over 20 years, Scarrows Meats. Delicious meats for Christmas, smoked turkeys, marinated prime rib. Oh, it's fantastic. Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. The number to call, 324-7657. Well, we're almost out of time here today, and I want to quickly wish each and every one of you Merry Christmas, and drive carefully when you're out there doing your Christmas shopping. And don't forget, when you're driving, make sure you've got the best of traction tires. The very, very best of traction tires for whether it's dry conditions, rainy conditions, now the snow and the ice. They've got all the tires, all the different tread designs for you at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Absolutely the best. All 7 locations serving you, not only with the tires for your traction, get through the mud and the yuck and the ice and the snow, but also the best in brake service. Very best in brake service, front end alignment, shocks and struts, and batteries. We don't emphasize enough the batteries. If you've got an old battery, you better check out yours and make sure you put a new one in so you got great starting through these cold winter days. Stop in and see Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Pole Line in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. You stop in and see those good folks today. Tomorrow on the program, Frosty Woldridge, Leiden Crane, great accountant with Pope CPAs, and we're going to be having them down here. And then, of course, Dr. History. We've got a great big game tomorrow to play, and it's going to be a lot of fun right here on Zeb at the Ranch. Don't forget, tune in, 12:30 a.m., K-Bar Radio, streaming live on the net, ZebBell.com. Until tomorrow at 8:06, the way things were are the way things ought to be. Merry Christmas!